Welcome to Kansas Ag Report with your host, Brian Hallman.
Welcome to Kansas Ag Report. I'm Brian Hallman, and here's our lineup for today's show. In Ag News, we'll take a look at local and national headlines affecting Kansas farmers. In our Ag Feature, we sit down with Susan Metzger, Assistant Secretary of Agriculture, to talk about water in the state of Kansas. And Inside Kansas Ag, KDA discusses Kansas' future agricultural growth, and Kansas Wheat talks to us about the Trans-Pacific Partnership. And in News You Need to Know, we get our weekly update from the Kansas Livestock Association, look back at last week's market activity with the guys from Paragon, and we'll let you know about important events coming up around the state of Kansas. Glad you could join us.
Closed captioning brought to you by
The Soybean Checkoff. Progress powered by Kansas farmers. KansasSoybeans.org.
Ag Risk Solutions. Experience, knowledge, integrity. Your crop insurance solution, Ag Risk Solutions. Kansas Wheat Commission. Leaders in the adoption of profitable innovations for wheat. Online at kswheat.com. Kansas Livestock Association. Supporting our members' business interests to meet consumers' demands. KLA.org.
Here's our national headlines for this week in Ag News. The Senate Agricultural Committee is holding confirmation hearings for positions in the Department of Agriculture and other federal agencies. U.S. Agricultural Secretary nominee Sonny Perdue is only one of 14 USDA positions to be confirmed. There are also to be hearings for 3 Commodity Futures Trading Commission vacancies and 1 Farm Credit Administration board position. South Africa has approved biotechnology traits that will allow imports of U.S. corn. South Africa issued permits this month authorizing the import of 1.3 million metric tons of white and yellow U.S. corn. The country was hit with severe drought for a couple of years in a row, resulting in the import of U.S. corn for the first time in almost a decade. South Africa uses yellow corn for animal feed and white corn for staple foods. The Association of Equipment Manufacturers' monthly FAST report shows that the sales of all tractors in the U.S. in January 2017 were down 2% compared to the same month last year. Agri-Marketing Magazine reports that a total of 10,851 tractors were sold, which compares to 11,056 sold through January 2016, representing a 2% decrease for the year. Sales of two-wheel drive 100-plus horsepower tractors were down 29%, and four-wheel drive tractors were down 38%. Combine sales were down 51% for the month. Sales of combines for the year totaled 205, a decrease of 51% in 2016. And in local news, U.S. Senate Ag Committee Chair Pat Roberts and Ranking Member Debbie Stabenow will hold the first field hearing on the upcoming Farm Bill reauthorization Thursday, February 23rd at McCain Auditorium on the campus of Kansas State University. Chairman Roberts was quoted to say, "It's time to get to work on another farm bill, and we're heading straight to the heartland to talk directly to producers. I can't think of a more appropriate venue to hold this hearing than Manhattan, Kansas." The hearing will also be webcast live at ag.senate.gov. The Kansas Agricultural and Rural Leadership, or CARL program, is now accepting applications for its Class 14. Ag leaders from across the state are encouraged to nominate emerging leaders in the ag industry. The application process is open now through April 15th. Selection will take place in May after the interview process. For more information, visit the program website to learn more about the program, carlprogram.com. A new report for the 10th District showed fourth quarter 2016 farmland values and cash rents declined moderately. Bankers across the 10th District noted that the persistent weakness in farm income continued to weigh on farmland values. Although most farmland purchases in the quarter were financed with new debt, the portion of loans with cash down payments decreased. The persistence and widespread decline in farm income has occurred alongside increasing loan demand and lower repayment rates. These trends are expected to continue in the first quarter of 2017. Up next in our Ag Feature, we sit down with Justin Gilpin from Kansas Wheat to talk about building projects at the Innovation Center and current wheat supplies and what that means for Kansas farmers. You're watching Kansas Ag Report. Please stay tuned.
This segment brought to you by Kansas Livestock Association, supporting our members' business interests to meet consumers' demands. KLA.org. Oldie Seed Farms, carrying soil-specific seed. Find them on the web at oldieseed.com. That's OHLDE seed.com. Grass and Grain, online or in the mail, keeping Kansas farmers informed for over 60 years. Grassandgrain.com. Kansas Wheat Commission, leaders in the adoption of profitable innovations for wheat. Online at kswheat.com.
Imagine having someone help you pick the best corn hybrids for every field on your farm. Your Oldie representative can combine your data with his data to offer a field-by-field prescription. Contact Oldie Seed today at 877-692-4555.
This Medford, New Jersey school bus runs on biodiesel, and so do these. In fact, all of these buses run on clean-burning biodiesel, which is great because the more we use biodiesel in our heavy-duty vehicles, the less carbon pollution in our air. Think how great it would be if more of our school buses ran on biodiesel. More biodiesel, less carbon pollution. More is less. Biodiesel, America's advanced biofuel.
You need a partner that you can count on to be there for your business, providing a depth of understanding to risk management issues so you don't have to. A knowledgeable support team located in your area, delivering products and services to make you more successful.
The producer-funded Kansas Wheat Innovation Center was built to get improved varieties into the hands of farmers faster. Kansas Wheat, farmers advancing their future through wheat genetics research.
Thanks for staying with us. We're in Topeka, and we're at the Topeka office at the Department of Agriculture, and we're joined by Susan Metzger, who's the Assistant Secretary of Agriculture for the state of Kansas. Susan, it's good to have you back on the show.
Thank you. Likewise to visit with you.
A lot has changed since the last time we sat down and talked. It was about 6 months ago. We have a new administration. We have a new session going on here in the state of Kansas. Just a lot going on.
Indeed.
And a lot involving water. Let's just start off. Let's jump right in. Let's jump in on John Redmond.
Great. So some pretty exciting developments since the last time we visited. This time last year, we had just begun construction on the confined disposal facilities and finished that up this summer. And in this past May, we began actually dredging and finished that up this past fall. And we successfully removed 3 million cubic yards of sediment from John Redmond. And now that sediment is being stored in 5 different disposal facilities, one of which is on federal core property, and the remainder of which are all on private property. So now begins the process of actually dewatering those and kind of in the hopes of reclaiming that property back to ag land in most of the cases.
And most of that will just be, as it dries out, will just be used back. People come pick up topsoil and put it back down on their crops.
Right, so each of those, with the exception of one, we're just passively letting them dry right now. But then we can actually go in and start building trenches and actively dewater them, and that helps then settle the deposited sediment. And then we put the topsoil, the good soil, right back on place. We've been saving that just on the side casting it. Put it back on place, and then we're gonna put it back into production.
New administration just got sworn in a couple of weeks ago. A lot changed going on there. We've got a new Secretary of Ag. Looks like the old governor of Georgia is going to be the Secretary of Ag. It's got to be good for us.
I believe so. You know, time would tell, but it's pretty exciting. You know, I think in the past administration, we were really challenged by the level of regulation that we were receiving. And so we're hopeful not only with Secretary Perdue and the Department of Agriculture, but even the Secretary of Interior and our Secretary of EPA, really establishing some new relationships with those individuals. We hope that that has some really positive implications to our citizens.
And one of the things we can touch on in the next segment is looks like Waters of the U.S. is going to go by the wayside.
Right, so that's certainly what we're hearing from a court decision. We'll see with the new Secretary of Interior how that then kind of plays out, and the Secretary of EPA, but also, some of the things that we've been challenged with the administrative review of the lesser prairie chicken and those types of things. I think that there are a number of things that we're excited to see in this new administration if there's just a fresh approach.
Perfect. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to finish up with Susan Metzger at the Topeka office of the Kansas Department of Ag. You're watching Kansas Ag Report. We'll see you in just a minute.
This segment brought to you by Farm Bureau, a grassroots ag organization representing the state's farmers and ranchers since 1919. KFB.org. Oldie Seed Farms, carrying soil-specific seed. Find them on the web at oldieseed.com. That's OHLDE seed.com. Grass and Grain, online or in the mail, keeping Kansas farmers informed for over 60 years. Grassandgrain.com. Kansas Wheat Commission, leaders in the adoption of profitable innovations for wheat. Online at kswheat.com.
Thanks for staying with us. We're in Topeka at the Kansas Department of Agriculture's Topeka office. We're joined by Susan Metzger, Assistant Secretary of Agriculture for the state of Kansas. And you touched on that in our first subject, some of the regulations we potentially could be seeing rolled back. And I don't want to say the Clean Air Act is going to be rolled back by any means, but maybe some of the restrictions as far as carbon monoxide and some of those other greenhouse gases may be rolled back, which is good for farmers.
Right. We operate under a smoke management plan here in Kansas, which allows us to do prairie burning, really important to our livestock industry and the integrity of the tallgrass prairie. So it's really important in this new administration that we begin that relationship early, begin educating some of Kansas needs so that they have a good awareness when they're talking about reevaluating some of those acts and regulations.
Not only that, but we've got a lot of new legislators here in the state of Kansas. We're starting a new 2-year cycle. A lot of people to educate on agriculture here in the state.
Indeed. There are a lot of new faces across the street in the State House, a lot of new faces on the committees that we do the most amount of work with, our House Ag Committee, our Senate Ag and Natural Resource Committee, and this year we have a new committee, the House Committee on Water and Environment. Each of those, I would say about 75% of them are made up by new faces, which is a great opportunity to build relationships and to provide some education.
And we got to spend some time with Ken Rogers today over at the State House, and one of the things he brought up is his role in a couple of those committees, the Water Committee being one of those, and really drilling down and getting it to a user-friendly scenario.
Absolutely. Representative Rochester is on that House Water and Environment Committee, and they've taken a real intentional focus in their first few weeks of just learning, having various agencies and industries come in and provide some background on their perspective of water and their key issues.
Yeah, but making sure that people who need the water have the water, those who don't need the water don't have to take water if they don't need it.
That's right.
But also giving back to the agricultural community as well to be able to use the water that they need.
You bet. So we have two really key pieces of water-related legislation that we'll be talking about across the street this year. One relates to water conservation areas. And this is a tool you and I have talked about a few times. 2 sessions ago, we created this tool. It allows a water right owner or a group of water right owners to enter into a conservation plan. And if they agree to use less water, they're afforded certain flexibilities that other individuals aren't. What this piece of legislation this year does is really clarify the types of authorities that those flexibilities could be provided. Just really makes it clean and transparent the way that we're administering the program.
Does it filter down into the governor's 50-year water plan?
It sure does. Water conservation was key in the governor's 50-year plan, and in fact, the whole idea of water conservation areas as policy was born out of that.
And I know the Republic Compact is, Ken said it best. He said, this is the first time I've seen Nebraska, Colorado, and Kansas get along so well.
It's really exciting, really unprecedented, and it should be the way that states and government cooperate together. For the past 2 years, every single month we get together in one of each of our sister states, and we talk about how to administer the compact in a way that actually benefits all of our citizens. We quickly learned that an individual that might live in Hanover, Kansas, still does business across the border in Nebraska. Nebraska, may even still own land there. So we share our citizens' concerns. And so this year we entered into a long-term resolution with both Colorado and Nebraska that really outlines a more favorable way to administer the compact for all 3 states.
Perfect. Well, we'll catch up with you later as we get through the session. Aren't you Kansas Ag Report? And we'll see you in a minute. If you would like to advertise your business on Kansas Ag Report, give us a call, 785-580-3287.
Agriculture is the largest industry, employer, and economic driver in the state of Kansas, contributing $64 billion annually to the state's economy and employing more than 234,000 Kansans. It's clear that growth of the Kansas economy will require growth of Kansas agriculture. That's why hundreds of leaders from throughout the Kansas agriculture industry have spent countless hours over the past year working on the development of a strategy for agricultural growth in Kansas. The Growth Project has been coordinated by the Kansas Department of Agriculture with participation by more than 500 agricultural stakeholders. A highlight of this process was the inaugural Kansas Governor's Summit on Agricultural Growth, which was held in Manhattan last summer. We are now looking forward to the second annual Summit on Agricultural Growth, which will take place on Thursday, August 24th in Manhattan. The summit will bring together hundreds of leaders from across the industry sectors under one roof to talk about the next steps for this strategic growth project. The Ag Summit will again be an opportunity to be actively engaged in planning for growth within your own industry sector, as well as for Kansas agriculture as a whole. That spirit of collaboration and focus on future growth that we have seen in the first stage of this project will guide the next steps, and we hope you will get involved. Full reports on the current status of the Growth Project can be found at the KDA website at agriculture.ks.gov/growag, along with details about the 2017 Ag Summit as they become available. Mark your calendars now. We hope to see you at the summit.
The U.S. wheat industry recognizes that President Trump's executive order to withdraw the United States from the Trans-Pacific Partnership, or TPP, was inevitable. It is disappointing, however, that until an alternative trade policy is established, export opportunities in the promising Pacific Rim markets that could help U.S. wheat farmers at a time when they need it most are very much at risk. U.S. wheat farmers depend heavily on export demand to determine their per-bushel income. We can compete very effectively in Asian and Latin American markets, where the demand for high-quality wheat is rapidly increasing, and TPP promoted economic growth abroad as a way to grow export sales and prosperity for farmers at home. Without TPP or alternative agreements, U.S. farmers will be forced to the sidelines of trade while losing market share to our competitors, including Australia, Canada, Russia, and the European Union, which have current agreements or are negotiating new ones with countries outside the network of existing U.S. trade agreements. U.S. Wheat Associates and the National Association of Wheat Growers agree that trade agreements must provide the most benefit possible to our farmers. We continue to support new agreements that expand free, rules-based trade, as TPP would have done, and encourage that agricultural interests be able to continue to provide input into those negotiations.
This segment brought to you by Farm Bureau, a grassroots ag organization representing the state's farmers and ranchers since 1919. KFB.org. Oldie Seed Farms, carrying soil-specific seed. Find them on the web at oldieseed.com. That's OHLDE seed.com. Grass and Grain, online or in the mail, keeping Kansas farmers informed for over 60 years. grassandgrain.com. Kansas Wheat Commission, leaders in the adoption of profitable innovations for wheat. Online at kswheat.com.
Premier Farm and Home has what you need to make your lawn the best in the neighborhood.
Hi, I'm Ken. We choose Premier Farm and Home for the professional look that we do ourselves.
Feel free to stop in. You can also visit our website at heycow.com.
I will take action against herbicide-resistant weeds. I will know my weeds, and I will stop them before they go to seed. I will do whatever it takes to give my crops the upper hand, and I will use multiple herbicide sites of action because every action counts. I will take action, this time for all time.
You need a partner that you can count on to be there for your business. Providing a depth of understanding to risk management issues so you don't have to. A knowledgeable support team located in your area, delivering products and services to make you more successful.
The producer-funded Kansas Wheat Innovation Center was built to get improved varieties into the hands of farmers faster. Kansas Wheat, farmers advancing their future through wheat genetics research.
Kansas Farm Bureau, the voice of agriculture, represents grassroots agriculture. The state's largest and most powerful farm organization stands up for its members through leadership development, agriculture education, legal defense, environmental advocacy, farm safety, and risk management. Members also enjoy money-saving benefits. To join our organization today or to learn more, go to www.kfb.org or find us on Facebook and Twitter.
This Medford, New Jersey school bus runs on biodiesel, and so do these. In fact, all of these buses run on clean-burning biodiesel, which is great because the more we use biodiesel in our heavy-duty vehicles, the less carbon pollution in our air. Think how great it would be if more of our school buses ran on biodiesel. More biodiesel, less carbon pollution. More is less. Biodiesel, America's advanced biofuel.
Imagine having someone help you pick the best corn hybrids for every field on your farm. Your Oldie representative can combine your data with his data to offer a field-by-field prescription. Contact Oldie Seed today at 877-692-4555.
USDA has announced it will postpone the effective date on the proposed Grain Inspection Packers and Stockyards Administration rules governing livestock and poultry marketing, as well as the Organic Marketing Standards rule pertaining to livestock and poultry production practices. The move was in response to President Donald Trump's request of federal agencies to put a temporary freeze on all pending regulations. An interim final rule on the GIPSA proposal was scheduled to take effect February 21st, while the organic rule was set to go into effect March 19th. The National Cattlemen's Beef Association and Kansas Livestock Association oppose both rules. The GIPSA rules would limit producer marketing options, compel buyers to offer lower bids across the board to avoid the appearance of preference, and create a situation encouraging legal challenges in the marketplace. The announcement by USDA delayed the effective date on the GIPSA rules and indicated the agency will accept public comment until March 24th. Formal comments from the Kansas Livestock Association suggested the Organic Standards rule would set dangerous precedent that government, not the latest scientific research, should dictate the best practices for how producers handle livestock. USDA will delay the effective date on the Organic Livestock and Poultry Practices final rule to May 19th.
Good morning. I'm Derek Hermish with Paragon Ag. The cattle market bottomed in October of 2016. Between mid-October and mid-January, both live cattle and feeder markets experienced a consistent rally, putting on roughly $20 a hundredweight, depending on which contract or weighted animal you want to look at. Then a bearish cattle on feed report knocked that rally in the teeth, and it's been more of a sideways pattern since. More so than ever in the last few years, there is a good honest debate over what the future of the cattle market holds from here going forward. I find reasonable people on both sides of the aisle when arguing for the idea that the overall lows were put in last October and that we should see better prices later this year. There are reasonable reasons to take the other side of the debate and presume the cattle herd is still growing. And even with the growth in overall meat demand, we still have yet to truly bottom this market. I confess, I don't know which of those scenarios plays out, or maybe neither of them do. Everybody wants to know that answer. But for the cattle producer who is able to make money year in and year out, it doesn't matter. You don't get to make money every year in the cattle business without managing your risk, which can sometimes involve losing money in your hedge account. You never know for sure which year is going to be the year that produces losses in your hedge account or losses in your cash sales. All I can offer is this year in particular is not the year I'd be banking on to think you can outguess it. I'm Derek Hermish Have a good day.
Soybean Checkoff. Progress powered by Kansas farmers. KansasSoybeans.org.
Ag Risk Solutions. Experience, knowledge, integrity. Your crop insurance solution. Ag Risk Solutions. Kansas Wheat Commission. Leaders in the adoption of profitable innovations for wheat. Online at kswheat.com. Kansas Livestock Association, supporting our members' business interests to meet consumers' demands. KLA.org.
Well, that's our show for today. I hope you'll join us each week for more news and information about agriculture in the state of Kansas. I'm Brian Holman, and thanks for watching.
I will take action against herbicide-resistant weeds. I will know my weeds, and I will stop them before they go to seed. I will do whatever it takes to give my crops the upper hand, and I will use multiple herbicide sites of action because every action counts. I will take action, this time for all time.
You need a partner that you can count on to be there for your business. Providing a depth of understanding to risk management issues so you don't have to. A knowledgeable support team located in your area, delivering products and services to make you more successful.
Premier Farm and Home has what you need to make your lawn the best in the neighborhood.
Hi, I'm Ken. We choose Premier Farm and Home for the professional look that we do ourselves.
Feel free to stop in. You can also visit our website at heycow.com.